I'm not trying to be anyone's savior. I just try to think about the future and not be sad. You have to be pretty driven to make it happen. Otherwise, you will just make yourself miserable. If you buy a ticket to hell, it isn't fair to blame hell. When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. For me, it was never about money, but solving problems for the future of humanity. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. I would like to die on Mars. Just not on impact. You shouldn't do things differently just because they're different. They need to be better. Education is basically downloading data and algorithms into your brain. My mentality is that of a samurai. I would rather commit seppuku than fail. No, I don't ever give up. I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated. One of the really tough things is figuring out what questions to ask. Once you figure out the question, then the answer is relatively easy. I came to the conclusion that we should aspire to increase the scope and scale of human consciousness in order to better understand what questions to ask. Really, the only thing THT makes sense is to strive for greater collective enlightenment. Every person in your company is a vector. Your progress is determined by the sum of all vectors. If you go back a few hundred years, what we take for granted today would seem like magic, being able to talk to people over long distances, to transmit images, flying, accessing vast amounts of data like an oracle. These are all things that would have been considered magic a few hundred years ago. The only thing that makes sense to do is strive for greater collective enlightenment. I could go and buy one of the islands in the Bahamas and turn it into my personal fiefdom, but I am much more interested in trying to build and create a new company. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better. It is important to view knowledge as sort of a semantic tree. Make sure you understand the fundamental principles, the trunk and big branches, before you get into the leaves/details, or there is nothing for them to hang on to. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself.